well as W234BI. Cocoa, Vieira, 94.7 FM, and W264AS, Melbourne and Palm Bay, 100.7 FM.
Extraordinary is the title, and that's our theme song, composed and performed by Nyasha Rodner. Good morning, buenos dias, bonjour, kia ora, heart of love, e caro. Welcome to the Steelpan Vibes. It's more than music radio show. I'm your host, Miss B, with Asa.
What's up? Everybody have a good day. Shout out to my wifey. Shout out to my girlfriend. Shout out to my girl. Shout out Vanessa. Everyone have a wonderful day, and I mean it. Please.
All right, and Mr. Paul at the controls.
Good morning, everyone.
Greetings to all our listeners, especially those of you joining us for the first time. 60 minutes of the finest Steelpan recordings and talk that inspires, informs, and empowers. Today's music is a little bit of this and a little bit of that Steelpan mix. Returning to the spotlight, Dwayne Akio Wong Omawale. Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning.
He's our in-studio guest. He's a law student and a Pan-African writer. Dwayne is going to address a host of topics which we trust will be of great interest to you. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and thanks for tuning in. Asa.
Sia Hamba is our opening selection, performed by St. Luke's Steel Band of New Haven, Connecticut, arranged by Deborah Thiessen from the album St. Luke's Steel Band, live in concert. The Steelpan Vibes, It's More Than Music radio show is brought to you by Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats of Palm Bay. Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats of Palm Bay offers a wide selection of fresh fruit, vegetables, fish, and meat for the international palate. Frozen foods, fresh dairy, and hot food at the deli are also available, as well as wholesale and catering services. And yes, we've got money transfer services to Haiti, Jamaica, and the Caribbean. Thrifty Specialty Produce of Palm Bay is located at 2135 Palm Bay Road. Call 321-726-8007. That's 321-726-8007. At Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats, freshness is guaranteed. You are listening to the Steelpan Vibes. It's More Than Music radio show on 1510 AM. WWBC 94.7 FM, 99.9, 100.7 FM in Brevard County, plus streaming live online at facebook.com/SteelpanVibes and 1510wwbc.com. It's available on the WWBC app. Search for WWBC for Androids and iPhones. If you miss a show, no problem. Go to the videos tab on the Steelpan Vibes Facebook page and scroll to all videos. Thanks for joining us for our little bit of this and little bit of that, or little bit of this and that steel band mix.
Well, folks, like many of today's musical instruments, the steel pan is versatile. And you can play from classical to calypso and everything in between. That's what they tell me. And that's what we have here. Let's see if that's really true and listen to Pan-As players doing Alicia Keys' composition, If I Ain't Got You, from the album Living the Music on the Sanch label.
Steelpan Vibes radio show is sponsored by Tony's Cooling and Heating. Summer is almost over, and while fall and winter may be mild in Florida, it's still a good idea to get your cooling system inspected and serviced. Tony's Cooling and Heating is Palm Bay's premier air condition installation and repair company. It offers free estimates on various brands, residential or commercial. Give us a call at 321-863-2823. 321-863-2823, or visit tonyscooling.com. Let us improve your comfort level at home or office. Tony's Cooling and Heating. 321-863-2823. 863-2823, serving Melbourne and surrounding areas. Also, Brown's Bakery and Restaurant for mouth-watering baked goods, soups, beverages, and meals, from patties to rock cake, chicken to goat head soup, juices to coconut water, and West Indian-style meals from jerk chicken to oxtails and delicious roti too, all at Brown's Bakery and Restaurant, located at 1155 Malabar Road inside the Interchange Plaza. Call 321-727-1060. That's 321-727-1060. Catering is also available. Brown's Bakery and Restaurant. Taste you can't resist. More music from our little bit of this and that steel band mix, please, maestro.
Okay, that was Magic Drum, composed by Len Bugsy Sharp and Marshall Montano, arranged by Pelham Goddard and performed by Brooklyn's Sesame Flyers Steel Orchestra from the album Pan in New York 2009. And good morning to all you locked in there. I see we have a friend from Nigeria. He is locked in. Also, we have some new listeners there, all locked in and listening to the Steelpan Vibes. It's more than music radio show. We are so glad to have you join us. Asa.
2 sweet pan joints coming up back to back. Stay with us.
Let's have a party, a Caribbean party, the entire region together in one big splashdown fiesta, a Caribbean connection, a regional vibration. I say we jamming to the sound of the Caribbean, we moving to calypso and steel band. This jungle be irie is one love, so feel free. We are the people of the Caribbean, showing that we don't want no basic plan. A Caribbean connection, a regional vibration. I say we jamming to the sound of the Caribbean, we moving to calypso and steel band.
Okay, the set began with the fine calypso vocals of Keith Styler, accompanied by Kareem Thompson on pan, doing Caribbean Connection from the album Pan Roots Culture, followed by pan soloist Trevor Cole with a sweet reggae rendition of Michael Jackson's Human Nature from the album Taking Over. And you know who's taking over now? Carmen. Carmen in Brooklyn. She's taking over. So is Nogales. Oh, that's a Spanish-speaking listener. Buenos tardes. How's that? Sounds good? All right. Well, we're glad to have you. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know exactly where you are, but it's in Espanol. Now, who else is there? Nash is there. Good morning, Nash. Thank you for listening. And we got a text from Adrian. She's way up in the Poconos. There's no internet service there, so she is not listening to us today. She'll have to go into the archives. But all of you there, thank you so much. We appreciate the time you take to check us out. Often, students who desire to go to college don't get there because they and their parents lack the correct information. No more. College Prep at Truth Reveal is providing a free seminar Saturday, September 28, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at FIT. And on the line, we have attorney Jennifer Rose. She will tell us more about it. So if you're in Brevard County and there's a high schooler in your life, listen up. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Miss Barbara. Thank you for having me on your show this morning. I truly appreciate it.
Okay, we are so glad to have you because we know what you have is very important to our community and we like to give you that opportunity to share it with our listeners. Now, could you tell us a little background about the event and why you're having it?
Yes, this is the 8th annual Planning for Your Future seminar. And I just assist my good friend and sis colleague, Valita Cameron. She's a member of Truth Revealed, and she helped spearhead this. And it's great. For the past 8 years, the kids have been coming out to SIT, getting great information with great speakers, attorneys, astronauts, people of all different professions. Just really trying to uplift our children and let them know that they all have the chance and opportunity to attend college. There's seminars, former college students, and teenagers, just talking to them, giving them great tips. It's for children from the 6th grade to the 12th grade. Registration is required, and there's a free lunch in the SIC cafeteria where they get to mingle and talk to college students, ask a couple questions. It's a great experience. And also, they provide a tour. SIT is a beautiful college, so we encourage parents to register their children at trmcollegeprep@gmail.com.
Okay, you want to repeat the address? They have to register online?
Yes, ma'am. trmcollegeprep.com@gmail.com or collegeprep@truthrevealed.org. We also have an information line, area code 321-952-5151.
Okay, just repeat that phone number because sometimes they're right there on the phone.
321-952-5151. We encourage parents to come as well. A lot of the information is pertinent for parents and students. It's open to the community, and again, it's a great event. Okay. I've had the pleasure to be involved for the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. All right, so tell us again when and where does it take place? This is College Prep.
Yes, ma'am. This upcoming Saturday, the 28th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at FIT, located in Melbourne, Florida, off University Boulevard. There will be signs with arrows pointing to the building so no one can get lost or turned around. There'll also be an attendant out there helping to direct students. Mm-hmm. And if students have an issue with transportation, we encourage them to call the information line. There may be transportation provided as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's so good, Jennifer. Thank you so much. I know we're going to have a lot of listeners with high schoolers for 6th to 12th graders in their lives who can take advantage of the free seminar, free lunch, free transportation. What else do you want? You need to come out.
Exactly. Oh, and we also, this is just a plus, they also give out gift cards for kids for different things. So the kids love that. So not only are you attending a free event, you get to walk away with something too. Just a little incentive.
Very good. That's so good. Okay, Jennifer. Well, we want to wish you all the best with the seminar, the college prep seminar coming up next Saturday, September 28th, 10 to 3 p.m. at FIT with lots of information. So parents and kids, get out there if you're in Brevard County to Florida Institute of Technology. Go out and get all that information you need so you can take advantage of getting into college when the time comes around. Okay, Jennifer, you have a good day.
Barbara.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Appreciate you and all that you do for the community. Have a great day.
You do the same. Okay, folks, that's a great event for folks to attend. What do you think, Dwayne?
I think so.
All right. Well, if you're in Brevard County, you have a high schooler preparing for college, check out this event, College Prep, at FIT on Saturday, September 28th. From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, up next, jazz pianist Victor Provost with a jazz standard composed by Clenna Lewis from the album Her Favorite Shade of Yellow. that was Just Friends with Victor Provost. That's one of Paul's favorite panists. He likes him. Why do you like Victor Provost?
Well, being a bebop jazz player, he can tear it up. He's one of the best jazz musicians I've ever heard on the pan.
Very good. He is. He's one of the best.
His technique is
very
outstanding.
Good. He
plays very fast too.
Of
very
course.
Clean.
Of course. Yes, man. That's what we do on the Steelpan Vibes radio show. We bring you the best, the finest. And I know who is there. Let's see. Let's start with our folks here listening to us on Facebook, listening to our live stream. Oluwole in Nigeria. I love saying that name. I think he told us what the name meant. Do you have any idea? Oluwole? Okay, we can find out. Give us the meaning of your name. And Gladys. Also, Carmen. Thank you so much for listening. Who else is there? Asa, Nyasha, Russell, and Jama Stewart. Mighty Jama from the UK. We're so glad you can join us. We do our best to bring you the finest. Okay, so what's happening?
Coming up in the Steelpan Vibes Spotlight is our friend and regular guest, Dwayne Akia Wong Amawale. Dwayne is a law student in Orlando and has written 17 books on the African experience. Today, Dwayne will touch on a few topics, including the Bahamas and disaster preparedness, employment rights, Harriet Tubman and Ghana's Year of the Return. But first, let's listen to a 60s recording with a salsa flavor by the original Trinidad Steel Band called Archie.
Okay, folks, we're in the Steelpan Vibe Spotlight with our guest, Dwayne Akio Wong Omawale, law student and Pan-African writer, and he's a lot of other things too. You know, he's a very ambitious young man, quite capable. I remember when he first came to the show, I don't know, 3-4 years ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
2015.
Right. And guess what? Now he's in law school. He's written more books than oh my goodness. Welcome and good morning. How are you?
Good. It's always nice to be on the show.
Okay. Well, I know today we're going to talk about quite a few things. We're going to talk about Hurricane Dorian and the Bahamas, disaster preparation, Harriet Tubman and her legacy, and year of return in Ghana. Also, we're going to touch a little employment law. And talking about employment law, you know, the majority of us have been employed sometime or other. Some of us have 2 and 3 jobs. But the question is, do we think about employment rights? What could you tell us about employment rights? Because we're so happy to get a job, sometimes we don't think about those things.
Yeah, because I'm actually doing a course right now on employment discrimination, and one of the things that the course really opened my eyes to is the fact that many of us are just happy to get a job, and there's a lot of laws and regulations and rights that you have as an employee that many of us aren't aware of. And one of the things to me that is really important about these laws is that the main law that we deal with, Title VII, that's a product of the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So. I think the main thing that we should think about as employees is that many of the rights we have now are rights that people have had to fight for, go to jail for, and die for. So I think very often we tend to take for granted certain rights that we have. So I think from that perspective, it's very important to be knowledgeable about these rights, not only because it's important for our own protection, but also because, like I said, these are rights that people have fought for us to have today.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did you say Title VII, one of the civil rights?
Yes, it comes out of the Civil Rights Movement. It was a product of that. And that's the rule that prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, gender, religion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, now let's move a little quickly to the island and the people of Grand Bahamas and Abaco, devastated by the impact of Hurricane Dorian. Now, we hear a lot about climate justice, and I wondered which climate justice is a term used for framing global warming as an ethical and political issue rather than one that is purely environmental and physical in nature. Now, I wondered if there was a connection between those types of disasters, hurricanes and so on, and climate justice. Is there anything in that situation that could be applied to the situation in Bahamas? Are you aware of?
Yeah, there's a direct connection because I was reading an article a few days ago that actually showed pictures contrasting what the rich communities look like that were hit by the hurricane and the poor communities. And the rich communities tend to have these large mansions, so people were living in structures that were more equipped to deal with the force of a hurricane. And in poor communities where people are living in little wooden houses, sometimes people are living in shacks. When a hurricane hits those communities, it completely devastates the community, destroys all the houses, wipes everything out. So I think climate justice, it's important to really think of this issue as a political and economic issue as well, because when hurricanes hit, they don't impact communities equally. Certain communities, poorer communities, tend to be hit harder, and it's particularly a problem in the Caribbean because there's so much poverty there. And like I said, even without hurricanes, many people in those islands are living in shacks that are about to fall over and are in decrepit situations anyway. So they're really not. People in those communities really have little protection when hurricanes hit.
So when hurricanes hit, they're not really prepared.
No.
Oh boy, no good, no good. This should be a good lesson in terms of, I guess, urban planning or whatever they do, but. A lot of the people who were impacted, I found out, were not even people from the Bahamas. Well, they were people in Bahamas, like a lot of Haitians, I understand.
Yeah, that was an issue too that I was reading about. There's a community called the Mud, and it was a lot of Haitians living there, and the houses there were actually, many of them were built by the people in the community because they were so poor they couldn't afford rent anywhere else, so they were forced to essentially build a little community of their own. And as I said, when you have these little wooden houses that are built by poor people that can't afford to go anywhere else, they don't really offer much protection from the hurricane. But one of the things I was reading was the government of the Bahamas was considering tearing down that community anyways. because it was part of a program of removing shanty towns, and the people in that community were concerned because, as I said, they were poor. They didn't really have any options. So many of the people were concerned about what happens if my community gets torn down and I have nowhere else to go. And unfortunately, because of the hurricane, now that community is gone, and those people really have nowhere else to go.
Wow.
So I did see a few people are actually going back to Haiti because there's nothing left for them in the Bahamas.
All right. Well, folks, we are in the Steelpan Vibe Spotlight. In case you're just joining us, we are speaking with Dwayne Akio Wong Omowale. He is one of our regular guests. We love having him. A bright young man. He's an author as well of 17 books on Pan-African issues and situations. So he's here just bringing us up to date. When we come back, he'll be talking about Harriet Tubman's 170th anniversary of her self-liberation. Also, the year of the return in Ghana. We're going to find out what that's all about. Asa.
The Steelpan Vibes, It's More Than Music radio show is brought to you by FACE, Financial Assistance for College Education, formerly known as 50 Plus and Bridging. FACE presents a black and white attire affair Saturday, September 21st, tonight, 8 p.m. until at the Bakaska Development Center, 2174 Harris Avenue in Palm Bay. Admission is only $10 in advance, $15 at the door. Tickets available at Montego's Cafe, 1851 Palm Bay Road Northeast in Palm Bay. Women dress to impress in all white, men dress in all black. All proceeds benefit the FACE Scholarship Fund for Children in Brevard County. For tickets and more information, 321-209-1680 or 516-526-5740. Again, 321-209-1680 or 516-526-5740.
Okay, folks, so if you are in Brevard County and you want to support a great cause, financial assistance for college education, come out this evening to their event at the Bakaska Development Center at 2174 Harris Avenue in Palm Bay. At the door, I believe it's $15 at the door, $10 in advance. So come out and support a great cause. We are in the Steelpan Vibe Spotlight with Dwayne Akio Wong Omowale, Pan-African writer and law student. And we want to say thank you for Cecil for joining us. Okay, Dwayne, we're going to talk a little bit about Harriet Tubman. You know, you always hear about Harriet Tubman, but we could know more about her.
A lot more.
Wonderful. And this week marks the 170th anniversary of Harriet Tubman's self-liberation from her enslavement. So could you please remind listeners who Harriet Tubman was?
Yeah, so Harriet Tubman was an abolitionist who originally was enslaved herself. She ran away and was able to eventually escape and obtain her freedom, but that wasn't enough for her. She felt obligated to go back and to liberate other people. So what she became well known for is going back to the plantations and leading raids in which she would lead other enslaved Africans to safety. And I think there's definitely a lot more that we need to know about her, because that aspect of her life is the main thing that people know about, how she freed herself and then went back and freed others. But I think, to me, the important thing to know about Harriet Tubman, that many of us forget, is that she was dedicated and committed to uplifting African people, and that was a lifelong struggle for her. After slavery was abolished, she continued being involved in other issues. For example, she fought for women's suffrage, the white right for women to vote. She one of the issues she took up was building a home for the elderly in her community. So right until she died, and she lived into her 90s, right until she died, she was constantly involved in different causes for African people. And there's one story that I really love telling about Harriet Tubman that I think really captures the essence of who she was. In this particular case, she was at the home of another abolitionist known as Henry Highland Garnet, and she started celebrating. She started celebrating the emancipation of African people, and this was before the Emancipation Proclamation came out and all of that. And Garnet told her that he felt that his grandchildren might see liberation, but he didn't think in his own lifetime he would see the liberation of African people. Now, 3 years after he told her that, the Emancipation Proclamation was declared, and everyone was celebrating, and people noticed that Harriet wasn't celebrating, and they asked her why, and she said, I already had my celebration 3 years ago. But why that story is so significant to me is that she really believed that within her lifetime she would see the end of slavery, and a lot of people, didn't share that belief. Like I said, Garnet was an abolitionist, and even he was trying to discourage Harriet Tubman from being so optimistic. So what really stands out to me about who Harriet Tubman was is just she had a very strong, belief in what the cause that she was fighting for and what she was doing, and she didn't allow anyone, even people with goodwill, to deter her from her commitment and her beliefs.
I think, I don't know if it's a myth or if it's the truth, but I understand that sometimes when she made those raids on the plantation and she had, they enslaved those who said they would go with her, would sometimes change their mind and say they wanted to go back to the plantation, and she would have to stop that. Notice she had a gun.
Yeah.
So I guess she had to put it to use.
Yeah, no, that was true actually. And when they interviewed her about it, she said she never actually had to shoot anyone, because once she pulled the gun out, people very quickly changed their mind. But what she said about it is she said she wouldn't have hesitated to do that, because she felt anyone who was weak enough to give out and want to return back into slavery would be weak enough to expose what she was doing, and that became an issue for the safety of the people that she was rescuing. But
absolutely.
But yeah, she said she never actually had to shoot anyone.
Yeah, I wondered if she did, because you have to do what you have to do when you on a mission, and she held on to her dream. She pursued her dream when others discouraged her, and even today you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, and one of the people that actually was discouraging her was her ex-husband. She came back to try to free him, and she found that not only was he already living with another woman, but he told her to forget about freedom. So there was a lot of people in her life, even people that were close to her, that tried to discourage what she was doing. But as I said, Harriet Tubman was someone that would allow herself to be discouraged, and she lived to see the end of slavery in the United States.
Excellent. You take a minute to welcome Yvonne and Kevin for joining us. Yvonne is in Trinidad and Kevin is here in Brevard County. I think he's up in Cocoa. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We are in the spotlight with Dwayne Akio Wong Omowale. He is a regular guest here. Sometimes he even conducts interviews. He hasn't done one lately. I guess he's busy with law school.
Yes.
And he's written 17 books on Pan-African issues. I suggest you try and get your hands on some of those. Where are they available, Dwayne?
They're all available on Amazon.
On Amazon. Okay, folks. Well, many African descendants in the diaspora have been able to trace their ancestral home to Ghana in West Africa. Marcus Garvey's organization, the UNIA, had a plan for the resettlement of African descendants. And sometimes people say they tend to minimize or narrow Marcus Garvey's focus and describe the UNIA as an organization that just dealt with back to Africa. And in fact, it was much, much more than that, because the Back to Africa were for those who were interested in going there and, doing business there and so on. But he was more than that. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, he settled and died in Ghana. Now meaning recently, the Ghanaian government has embarked on a campaign to encourage resettlement in the motherland, calling it the Year of Return. What could you tell us more about the Year of Return?
The Year of Return was set to commemorate 400 years of African enslavement in the United States. There were enslaved Africans in the United States before 1619, but generally we think of the Africans that were brought by the Dutch in 1619 as being the start of slavery in the United States. So that's why this year is the Year of Return, and essentially what the government of Ghana is been doing is trying to encourage the African diaspora to reconnect with the African motherland. One of the things that the government was doing was actually giving citizenship. I think but 200 people were given citizenship so far for the year of return. So yeah, it was just to encourage that diaspora to go back to Africa to reconnect. And one of the things I thought that actually was very interesting to me is there's discussions now with Ghana and the government of Guyana. I don't know if other Caribbean countries are involved, but what they're talking about doing is having direct flights from the Caribbean to Ghana rather than having to go to Europe and then fly to Ghana, which made no sense to me anyways, because it's it's not a very long flight going directly from the Caribbean to West Africa, but having to fly to Europe to go to Africa. I know that's something a lot of people were complaining about. So that's one thing that I've seen come out this year.
But there are more and more people, African American and Caribbean people, going to Ghana, visiting and resettling and so on.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I think it's about 3,000 African Americans have actually relocated to Ghana and are living there. So yeah, many Africans in diaspora have been going to Ghana, and you mentioned Du Bois. Du Bois died in Ghana. So since Ghana became independent, it tended to be the main African country that people from the diaspora have gone to, not just to visit, but to actually to relocate and live.
Well, I guess I have to go there one day before I leave this earth. I would really love to go there. It seems as though the time just flies by, but before we end the interview, what other nuggets of wisdom you like to leave us with?
This isn't coming from me, actually. This is something that my Professor Leacock from law school taught the class. And he's actually from Barbados originally, so it was interesting being in his class. But he told us in life there are three types of people. He called it three types: quitters, campers, and climbers. Now, the quitters are people that give up and they quit before they really get anywhere in a journey. The campers are people that climb to a certain point, and then they get comfortable and they camp out and they just stay there and they never move. And what he told us is we need to be like climbers. Climbers are constantly climbing. They never settle. They're never happy with their position in life because they always feel like they can do better than where they are. So I want to share that because of the courses I've taken so far in law school. Professor Leacock's class was not only eye-opening to me and educational in terms of just what I learned in regards to law, but he gave very profound life advice, and that's one piece of advice that I'd want to share.
Okay, so the first type is
quitters.
Quitters. Yeah. Nah, we don't want those. Yeah. The next type?
Campers.
Campers. Yeah. Not really. But the third type?
The climbers.
Climbers. And I know we have a lot of climbers listening and involved in the Steelpan Vibes Radio Show, and we sure love having you on board, climbing on board and taking things higher. I want to ask you this question because I know you love Pan and you listen to the music. Do you have a favorite type or genre that you like or enjoy hearing on Pan?
Not favorite genre, but there are certain artists that I really do enjoy hearing on Pan. And what's interesting is I didn't realize you were actually going to play it today. Human Nature by Michael Jackson is actually one of my favorite songs to hear on Pan because that song itself to me is very soothing and calming, and to hear a song like that on an instrument like the Steelpan, which is also very soothing and calming instrument, and I think to me that's a good combination. Bob Marley, he's not an artist I really enjoy hearing on a Steelpan for the same reason. His music is very calming. Earth, Wind, and Fire, the few renditions of their songs I've heard on Steelpan I also enjoy. And this week, actually, I saw someone on Facebook shared Umbayo by Merchant. It was actually a song about going back to Africa, and it was Desperado's Steel Orchestra, I believe, was doing that rendition of Steelpan. And to me, that song is a very powerful song, but to hear it on Steelpan just really brings the emotions out. So I don't necessarily have a favorite genre, but to me, there's just certain songs when I hear it on Steelpan. The Steelpan really helps to capture the essence and the power of what the songs are about.
Wonderful. And on that note, I have to say thank you. We always appreciate hearing from you, and I know our listeners learn a lot about themselves and are encouraged. I find you very encouraging as a young man, encouraging even me to, strive more and do better and reach higher. So thank you so much. Okay. All right, folks. So what's the last word? The last word comes from Harriet Tubman. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Hey, sir.
Taking us home are two giants in the Steelpan art form, Len Bugsy Sharp and Pelham Goddard, doing a show tune with the song In My Heart is the title, from the album Sticks and Fingers.
Until next time, take very good care of yourself and keep the master in mind as we go through the storms of life. May God bless you all.